Tomahawk missiles first into the compound, followed, he said, by an IDF strike acting on CIA intelligence that was shared with the Israelis. Let's bring in Bahman Kalbasi from BBC Persian, who was listening in New York to that statement from Pete Hegseth. I thought what stood out to me was that he kept talking about the regime in the past tense, and yet they're still in place.
It was quite shocking to hear that. I thought I misheard it a few times, but it went back, and it seems that he said the regime changed and the world is better off for it. So it's unclear what he means by that. The regime is very much in place, in fact, sending out text messages en masse today to citizens in Iran, threatening them from any protest, and said that we will be crushed if anybody does so, because it was seen as cooperation with the United States and Israel. Obviously, there are other comments by the secretary that will be questioned, including the part where he said, we did not start this war, and we just are here to finish it. Clearly, by any definition, they did start this war. So we are in an interesting place where his comments might somewhat even contradict what President Trump said about the goals of this operation. We heard regime change was one of them. The president repeatedly encouraged Iranians to take to the streets. Initially, he said, don't do it while the bombs are falling. Stay home. But in the last 24 hours, in the other video, there seems to be entering a more vague space where saying just go and take over the government to the people of Iran. The secretary said we're not there to build democracy. It is not our goal. This is not a regime change war. So lots of perhaps contradicting statements.
Yes, in your picture there, President Pezeshkian, who is in charge of the Interim Leadership Council, which tells you that the regime is very much still in place. What we also heard from General Dan Kane is that the target set, Bahman, is increasing and expanding dramatically across the south of the country and to hundreds and hundreds of targets. The idea is to win the hearts and minds of the Iranian people who want rid of this regime, but the civilian death count is now at 555. Does that complicate the picture?
It sure does, and there was no questions asked, sadly, of the incident in southern Iran where at least many dozens of students in an all-girls school were killed in an operation that CENTCOM said we're looking into it. We don't know what the result of that looking into is so far, but one would expect that somebody would ask, why were you targeting the school? And more importantly, in Tehran, obviously a city of millions of people, as the longer this goes and the longer the life becomes difficult and civilian casualty mounts, the balance of wanting this regime gone to wanting to be alive and see it gone for millions of Iranians might shift. And therefore, it becomes even more complicated for the public who wants very much to see the end of this government to be able to act while they're under this severe bombardment. And most importantly, seems to be, again, unclear what the end game is and how and when this operation wraps up for the Iranian people to be able to get their agency back and play a role.
Can we pick up on these pictures of this Iranian girls' school that has been hit in Minab? Reportedly 165 people were killed, another 96 injured. Horrific on the ground there in Minab. What do we know about that strike, and has there been any response from the Iranian authorities?
I mean, what we know is that the space that is attacked is close to an IRGC base, but it's not on top of an IRGC base, and even if it were, there's no justification for attacking a school full of children. All the information we're getting is from the Iranian authorities. The numbers, how many of them were school children, the hour that was attacked, but so far, nothing beyond that statement from CENTCOM that we're looking into it. So there is a need to find out what happened, why was it targeted, and if it was a mistake and how it went down, that there would be an explanation from the American side. The Israelis seem to have come out and said, we had nothing to do with it, we weren't operating in the area. But the information we're getting is entirely from the government. Obviously, the pictures are heart-wrenching, and many school kids killed, including their backpacks seen in the images, body parts in body bags. It's very, very difficult to see.
Yeah, indeed. So, can we just quickly address the Gulf Arab states who've been very discreet about what is going on their US bases? Some of them were more categoric than that. They didn't want operations in Iran to be launched from their bases, but the position is changing quickly. And General Kane said in that briefing that they are now involved in offensive operations. If they came to be involved in strike operations, Bahman, Sunni countries attacking a Shiite country, what does that do across the region?
I mean, it seems like the Iranian regime decided to exact a price from the region very early on, and that seems to be a sign that they saw it as a war of survival, and the only way to stop it is to make sure that Arab countries in the Persian Gulf go and basically lobby the Trump administration to bring this to an end quickly so the costs doesn't spread around the region. But the consequence of that, obviously, is what we're seeing increasingly. Some of these countries who have actually quite a friendly relationship with Iran before this, some of them were mediators, are now saying we are going to respond and this will not be tolerated. But the reality is if there's a direct confrontation between those countries and Iran, obviously the price of this the cost of this war will increase for all sides, and it's unclear how everybody looking for an off-ramp will find one if it expands that way.